Imagine a dark room filled with shelves of unsolved cases that may not have been looked at in years. Now imagine taking those cases off the shelf and bringing them into the light. The goal of this channel is to shed some new light on those dark cold cases on a state-by-state basis. Thus, welcome to Dark Cold State. Please stay tuned for my final thoughts that will be included at the end of this video. Today's true crime cold cases are from the state of Ohio. Our first cold case is the murder of Marvin Lee King. It was January 26, 1973, and phones rang in both the Springfield News and St. Mary's School. The anonymous caller stated that a body of a man would be discovered in a field or ditch at Rebert Pike. Another call was also made to the local church, and later the Clark County Sheriff's Office was dispatched and began searching the area. 4 hours later, they discovered the body of a young man in a field near West Possum Road. This body would later be identified as Marvin Lee King. Marvin, also known as Bo, was a 12-year-old boy who had been reported missing just the day before. He lived in the Rose Garden Mobile Home Park on Upper Valley Pike with his mother. News reports state that his mother, who was at work at the time, had sent a neighbor to check on her son when she couldn't reach him. The neighbor found the door ajar, but there were no signs of struggle, and it appeared that Marvin had been making cookies. Police spoke with neighbors, and one reported that he had seen Marvin get into a dark-colored car, possibly a 1965 Chevrolet or Pontiac. Later, an autopsy was performed, and the cause of death was determined to be strangulation and was ruled a homicide. If you have any information regarding the murder of Marvin Lee King, please contact the Clark County Sheriff's Office at 937-328-2560. Our final two cases this week will cover the two separate unsolved incidents that involve the McCormick family, which has been hit with two unsolved tragedies in less than a 5-year period. On August 18, 2016, 24-year-old Lennell parked his car facing eastbound on Kinsman Avenue near East 69th Street. He exited the vehicle and was hit by an unidentified vehicle. The vehicle left the scene heading eastbound on Kinsman Avenue. Authorities found Lennell on the ground at approximately 11:45 p.m. Lennell was transported to a local hospital where he later died from his injuries. If you have any information regarding the murder of Lennell McCormick, please contact the police at 216-623-5290 or Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County at 216-252-7463. All callers to Crime Stoppers can remain anonymous. Our last true crime cold case for this week is Wilbert McCormick. Wilbert McCormick was 62 years old and had served the city of Cleveland for 30 years as a firefighter, helping to save the lives of many people. Wilbert had subsequently retired and enjoyed spending time with his wife, Vanita. They took daily walks, and on July 21, 2020, they were on their way to Forest Hills Park on Cleveland's east side. There were many people in the area as they walked near Thornhill Drive and Arlington Avenue. However, during their walk, Wilbert slumped to the ground. Vanita was unsure what happened and started screaming for help, but no one responded. According to news reports, cars drove by and no one came to provide assistance. Vanita was finally able to get the attention of a passing police officer who called for an ambulance, but unfortunately, her husband had died. If you have any information regarding the death of Wilbert McCormick, please call Cleveland Homicide Detectives at 216-623-6206 or Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County at 216-252-7463. All callers to Crime Stoppers can remain anonymous. The cases in this video should remind all of us that life can change in an instant. A few seconds, perhaps even a minute. A small amount of time that makes up an entire life and that can ripple through multiple lives and devastate many people at once. Imagine a young boy baking cookies. Maybe it was a surprise for his hardworking mom, a friend, or even a neighbor. Maybe the cookies were for him, and he was imagining that first bite where the cookie is warm and the chocolate is oozing out. And yet, in the next small moments of his life, he is perhaps somehow enticed or lured into a vehicle by unknown means. A life cut too short, friends and family that may never recover, questions left unanswered that unless resolved will haunt the people who knew him for the rest of their lives. A young man who is part of a loving family, driving in the evening. Some reports say he had been arguing with someone, some did not, but he decides to park his car and exit his vehicle. One moment, one small moment, where just perhaps a few extra seconds would have changed the circumstances entirely. Just a few seconds, not only by him, but by the driver as well. Just a moment in time that could have changed everything. Or a man who was a father, a grandfather, a brother, and a husband. A man that had dedicated approximately half his life to helping others had been shot by a stray bullet as he and his wife were simply strolling down the street. Stray bullet. It almost sounds innocent when you say it out loud. But again, one moment, one brief space of time, and it's all over. People's worlds come crashing down. Ripples spread out from that moment of impact. Just one moment in time, and it's like insidious fingers spreading out from that moment, and they crash into family members, neighbors, co-workers, and break their lives apart. As a survivor of multiple abuses and crimes, it saddens me how some people or some families suffer devastating tragedies more than once, while others are completely unscathed. It is difficult to survive one tragedy or abuse, and yet all the more devastating to experience more than one in a lifetime. Hold your loved ones close. Tell them you love them, for we never know what the next minute or even second will bring. Remember, it could only take a second. Just 1 second. There are also many unidentified remains found in each state. If you have not already done so, please consider getting DNA testing completed where the DNA results are shared with law enforcement so that the possibility of identifying any unknown remains is increased. The goal of this channel is to provide attention to these cold cases. If you like the videos on this channel, please click the like button, share the video with others, comment below, and subscribe to the channel so that these videos are seen by as many people as possible. Appropriate update videos will be provided if needed. If you have a cold case or a missing person cold case that you would like to see featured on this channel, please suggest in the comments below or email me the information.